Hello everybody, this is Mr. Laubach. Thank you for joining me. In this video, we are going to go over one of the most pivotal events in American history, the Boston Massacre. This event took place on a chilly evening of March 5th, 1770, and it played a significant role in the lead up to the American Revolution. So fasten your seatbelts as we explore the Boston Massacre. Let's set the stage. It's the 1770s and tensions are running high in the American colonies. The relationship between the American colonists and the British authorities is fraught with conflict over issues like taxation without representation. Enter the Townshend Acts, a series of laws imposed by the British Parliament that taxed everyday items like tea, paper, and glass. Needless to say, the colonists were not pleased. Now the scene shifts to Boston, a hotbed of revolutionary fervor. British troops, known as Redcoats, are stationed in the city to enforce these unpopular laws. The presence of these soldiers is a constant reminder of British authority, and this stirs up resentment among the local Bostonians. And then on the fateful evening in 1770, everything came to a head. A crowd of angry colonists gathered around a group of British soldiers, taunting and insulting them. It's important to note that these British soldiers were young, often poorly trained, and faced a very hostile crowd. The situation escalated rapidly with violence, and someone, no one knows who for sure, shouted fire, and the soldiers opened fire on the crowd. Now, what were the results? 5 colonists were killed, and several were wounded. And now let's not forget about an important figure in the story of the Boston Massacre, Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks, an African American, was one of the 5 colonists killed on that dreadful evening. His death serves as a stark reminder that the struggle for liberty included people from diverse backgrounds, and his sacrifice is often seen as a symbol of the fight for freedom that transcended race and ethnicity. Crispus Attucks is often considered the first American death of the Revolutionary War. The Boston Massacre was a shock to both sides. The colonists saw it as a horrifying example of British tyranny, while the British were alarmed by the violence that had unfolded. But the Boston Massacre wasn't just a moment of bloodshed, it had a profound impact on the American Revolution. It became a powerful propaganda tool for the colonists. Patriots like Paul Revere and Samuel Adams used the incident to rally support for the revolutionary cause. Engravings, like Paul Revere's famous image, depicted the event as a brutal massacre of innocent Americans, even though the reality was more complex. This engraving, often referred to as the Bloody Massacre on King Street, portrayed the British soldiers firing into a crowd of unarmed colonists, creating a vivid and chilling image of the event. Paul Revere's engraving was instrumental in rallying support for the revolutionary cause. It served as a powerful tool to stir emotions and garner sympathy for the colonist struggle against the British oppression. The image was widely circulated, further fueling the anti-British sentiment. And in a time where there wasn't much technology, the image was really the only thing that many colonists knew about the event. And word spread so quickly that almost everybody in the colonies knew about the massacre before word had even gotten back to Britain. However, it is crucial to remember that Revere's engraving was not an accurate representation of the event. It was a selective and artistic interpretation meant to serve a political purpose, emphasizing the brutality of the British troops. This speaks to the power of visual media in shaping historical narratives. The legal aftermath of the Boston Massacre is also noteworthy. British soldiers were put on trial for murder in Boston, and interestingly, John Adams, a future U.S. president, served as their defense attorney. In the end, 6 of the 8 soldiers were acquitted, and 2 were found guilty of manslaughter, receiving light sentences. It also underscores the challenging decision that individuals like John Adams had to make in pursuit of justice. Now, why is the Boston Massacre important for us historians to study? Well, it's a perfect illustration of how history is often shaped by perception and propaganda. It shows how a single event can be twisted, turned, and used to help fuel a revolution. The Boston Massacre is also a stark reminder of the consequences of violence and how it can escalate quickly at times of tension. Historians often see the Boston Massacre and Paul Revere's engraving as the single most important piece of war propaganda in American history. So thanks for listening and watching, and I hope you learn more about the Boston Massacre. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.